Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Checkered Flag podcast. I'm your host Julian. Today I'm not with a co-host, however we will be discussing the Formula 1 2022 calendar. We've got some new races, only one all. We've got of course Miami, we've got Japan, Singapore, coming back of course. So, 23 races, the most you've ever seen in a calendar. It will be tight considering we're starting late March and ending late November. So that's 8 months for 23 weeks. Okay, a lot to talk about this calendar. Of course, since the sport is growing, more tracks, like more in the US want to join. Also maybe one in Las Vegas coming up. However, we will start with round 1. My personal opinion about it, how I think the race will be, and then make sure to let me know what your dream calendar is. So, round number 1, Bahrain. The last 2 years, last year's season starter, I think it deserves it more than Australia, considering that it's much, like, it gets you in that mood, like Australia is like, get to turn 1, you've won. However, once we get to Australia, we'll talk about some of the changes they have made. However, right now, Bahrain, for me, the best season starter. It's always like a battle between do you go medium hards or do you go medium hards. It's like interesting because you don't really use the softs, and then it's also another place where the midfield teams like AlphaTauri, where Pierre Gasly is usually very strong, can like show off. Of course, last year I'm talking about 2021, we had the Ferrari versus McLaren battle, which kind of set up the season for the battle for third. Of course, Ferrari won that. However, now with Bahrain, it's gonna be, I feel like it's going to be better. Cars can follow much more through after turn 4 through the S's, and like just before the long straight, winding up the hill through the flat out right hander. Cars will be able to follow more, meaning I'm hoping there'll be more overtakes into turn 1, turn 4, and of course side by side through the S's, which we all love. About physical track itself, it's one of my favorite. I love how turn 1, 2, and 3 switch back on each other, so you might have the inside for turn 1, but you'll get the outside through turn 2. And then turn 3 is just that uphill kink, which it's just there to like straighten it out. However, I also do like the undulation through the turn 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7 S's down the hill, and then up the 11, 12, 13 corners. Definitely just don't think about those corner names. Through the turn 9, turn 10 tight corner, which will be trickier because there's less aero. However, as I said, it will be easier to follow. Going to one of the most controversial races of last year, Saudi Arabia. Where do I start with this? Last year, it was an absolute joke. It was a disaster, which kind of set the tone for like Michael Messi in Abu Dhabi. It was just a disaster, and then they said that they'll have things to fix. The race happened in December. They've 3.5 months to fix that track. Right now they only have 2, because it has to be ready like when they're in Sake, or like maybe even a bit before. Also, personally for me, about preseason, if you don't know what preseason is, there's 6 days, 3 in Spain, 3 in Bahrain, first the 3 in Spain, end of February, then 3 in Saket early March. For me, I would like it more swapped. I would like it more swapped. I would like it swapped so that we have the first race before, while people are still understanding the car. I think that would bring better racing and more like drama, since people don't know the car around that track. Our Spain's always boring, so just remove it and put Hockenheim back on. If you want to see Hockenheim or any other tracks onto this calendar, let me know. I think I'll see a lot of Kailami people out there. Saudi Arabia, I'm not sure how they fix it, if I'm honest, but yeah, I can see how it can be a good one. It's just so annoying because we barely had a proper race. There was always some controversy. Round 3 brings us back to Australia for 3 years. It's been 3 years since we've been there. 3 years since Bottas 2.0 happened. Of course, Australia has those updates. You'll see them on the screen right now, which should make better racing, but I actually do think that the cars will make the better racing than the actual track features. It made it more flowing, less like corner to corner. Australia, don't have much to comment about this one because the last time we've been there, Bottas was fast. Sorry. Williams was slow. Robert Kubica was driving the last time we were there. It's a tough one because you don't know how it is or how the changes will affect. We'll have to wait until FP1 end to see. Okay, blah 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 blah. Notoriously around Australia, Hamilton or the Mercedes have been quick. Doesn't matter about the last 6, 7 years, 8 years of who's been quick at what circuits, because it's completely new regulations. Since, let's say, for example, Red Bull were very good at Mexico. If they were good at Mexico, that means that they should be fast in 2022. However, it's a new car, so we'll just move on to round number 4, one of my personally favourite F1 circuits, coming at around the same time of the year. We have Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. The Autodrome Enzo de Ferrari, blah blah blah. You guys know, it's a great track, I would say. Great track. Played on the F1 game a lot. However, slight problem with it. I'm just thinking back to what was it? Yeah, it was the start of the race. Hamilton going round the outside of Verstappen. Verstappen forcing Hamilton onto those big sausage curbs. And I'm not sure if I'm right here, but I think it gave Hamilton a bit of floor damage, but I'm not sure. And with that, they have to watch out that, because there can be some heated drama, because especially if they come in there with speed, they can do what Verstappen did to Hamilton in Monza. As we know, all 3 Italian circuits that we have raced at for the last couple of years, i.e. Mugello, Imola, Monza, all have very high curbs. So yeah, Imola, great track, great racing, I hope. Favorite section, not sure what it's called, but it's before the final chicane there, where you barrel down, double right. You don't break through the first right-hander, but through the second hard, and then right left. Just before there, where Mazepin crashed into Latifi, or Latifi crashed into Mazepin, however you want to see. Round 5 is Miami. Miami. Personally, I haven't even seen the track yet, so I'm actually gonna Google it right now. I'll give you guys a picture on the stream. Miami F1 track. I haven't even seen it. I think I've seen it, but I forgot. Come on, let's see it. Oh, this looks a bit dodgy. From what I can see, the track is that there's only. You know what? It's not that bad. Only thing that I don't like, it's that the main straight reminds me a bit of Abu Dhabi. Like, it's very short. But, some back straights, some S's. I'm hoping it'll be a good one. It'll be exciting for everyone to be back at the Americas. Back at Miami or on the East Coast in Florida. It reminds me it's very American, you know, high speed, high corners. It's a bit of a mess. On the right side, they've decided, like, lads, we have to put some corners in this. Alright, we take a chicane, and we take a bit from Sandford. Good. I'm talking about the turn. Jeez, can't even see that. Wait, which way is it meant to go? I can't even see it because the numbering's horrible. Oh, okay, so it's a bit like Becker, how you want to be behind on the final lap. Can I get one that numbers better? Yeah, here, right here. Okay, I see it. There, I'm talking about turn 11 to 16, where it's just like, what have we done here? And then turns 9 and 10, they're just kinks. I really don't know what to say here, because as you can tell, I always do this with a co-host. So yeah, Miami, it'll either be great or really just terrible. Speaking about terrible, Spain. Where do I start with you? Just terrible. They've reprofiled turn 10, which makes it even worse. Just delete it. Delete it, please. Please, honestly. Monaco, sorry, Monaco. Jeez, all the billionaires will be after me. Alright. Monaco, can't change anything there. It'll be decided on a Saturday. I wouldn't mind a wet, dry, wet race or dry, wet, dry race around Monaco. The last time we had that, I want to say, was 2016, 7 years ago. 7 years ago, we've had a wet race at Monaco. So, yeah, that makes it quite interesting, because I have no idea what's it going to be like with the new cars. Hopefully it'll be easier to follow through Tabec swimming pool and Rascasse, so that you can get some overtakes into the main straights, or through Lower Mirabeau and Poitiers, where you can get some overtakes into the Nouvelle Chicane. Personally, it's Monaco after all. You're stuck in traffic, you're done. I mean, it's Monaco, of course. 78 laps of just where 5 of them are interesting. I think there's one part that was... Monaco was more funny than exciting last year with the Lance Stroll meme. So, yeah, we'll just move on. Azerbaijan. Where do I start with this? Great track. I love, like, a good old mix between high-speed, classic, old 1990, that castle section, those sweeping turns of, like, what is it, 12 or 11 to 14, you know, all those left-handers coming into the heartbreaking zone, downhill where we've seen quite the amount of people bin it in FP1, Lance Stroll, Kimi Räikkönen, or Giovinazzi, can't remember who, and then of course we have that wind-up. It doesn't disappoint for me. It's always been a great race for me. So, yeah. Canada, we're coming back. Finally, we're back at Canada. 3 years once again. There was meant to be a sprint race there last year. However, I'm not sure about that. Canada is always that track that's like a bit weird because it's always in the European portion. You know, like, it's Spain, Monaco, Azerbaijan, Canada, and then England. However, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, great circuit. And now with that turn 1 and 2, I think one of the problems was through the first chicane, so turn 3 and 4, 5 and 6. It's hard to follow. However, that you'll hear me talking a lot about following. So far, the only thing I would change about the calendar is getting Spain out. and maybe a bit more gap in between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Hold up. I just realized we have 3 races in the Middle East. Yeah? And how many in like mainland Europe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in mainland Europe. Oh, money! It's all about the money. We'll talk about some controversies in a later episode. However, next up is England, where it was chaos last year. Leclerc leading 50 laps. Bottas being Bottas. Hamilton fighting through with a 10-second grid penalty to win his 8th British Grand Prix victory. For me, that is well placed. You kind of always get the England, Austria, France around July. Although usually England is after Austria and France, which is a bit weird since it's not normal. So yeah, for me, England, Austria, France, or England and Austria, great tracks. Love both of them. All have a bit of history as well. Of course, England being Silverstone being the first track, Spielberg being, of course, where Red Bull have won the last race, the last 2 races, since we had 2 races there. Hopefully, we won't have 2 races there this year, since we've had it for 2 years. It gets a bit boring. France was a bit of a shocker, eh? It shocked everyone, I think. Everyone watching Formula 1 was like, alright, lads, if you're watching it with someone, you were doing this. Alright, mate, get the Monopoly, start setting it up. Oh, let's watch the start. 5 red lights are on. Oh, cool. Wait, team radio? Lap turn around, team radio. We're not sure if it's going to be on 1 or 2 stop. Throw the Monopoly out, and everyone's eyes glued to the screen like 2 magnets together. Hungary. Last race, another bizarre race. Hamilton starting alone. Hungary's Hungary. It's Monaco without the barriers. There's so much you can do there, and how the title race would have changed if Verstappen would have crashed out, or if that incident would have happened in Austria or anywhere else but Hungary. Hamilton would have won that race, because he's way quicker than everyone, especially around Hungary, where he's won 7 times as well. Crazy, these figures. He's been in the sport for 15 years. Still not as much as Kimi, though. Sorry, Lewis. 15 years. Hungary's Hungary. Can't change it. You won't overtake that. That last corner is absolutely terrible. They should reprofile it. Just honestly, I'll be happy if they'll just put a 90-degree corner instead of this long right where it's a blind, don't know where you're going, you get understeer, so you have to do everything. And yeah, Belgium. No one deserves to go to this race apart from those poor people who paid for an F1 race last year and got to sit in the rain for 3 hours watching cars go at 100 kilometers per hour behind the safety car. What did they mess up there? It was going to backfire immediately, the FIA. They should have just called it lads, there's no point coming out. It is terrible weather. Just all drivers jump on the simulator on F1 2021. We do the race there. George Russell would have won. However, I can't hurt on Belgium because that's what makes Spa interesting. The weather. Zandvoort. Not the interesting one because once again, the race was more like one at the first lap because it's very flowing, hard to follow. But the new cars hopefully will fix that. Zandvoort, yeah. Monza, one of the most disappointed races last year. Not in terms of action, but in terms of overtakes. Since everyone's running, basically DRS the entire lap with how fit or how angled their rear wing is. DRS does nothing, so it just becomes a slipstream or DRS train, which is so annoying because it's such a great track. I love Monza. all those hard-braking zones, all of those like legendary corners. Whoever decide to rename Parabolica in all my videos, I'm gonna be calling that Parabolica. I don't care what the real name is. It's like a Dino corner or something like that. Ascari as well. The Lesmos. Yeah. So rant over. Russia. Next year the race will be in St. Petersburg. Which will be a lot closer to Finland, so people were saying home race, maybe for Kimi and Bottas. Sorry, Kimi. But yeah, for me, Sochi is like the, yeah, I will watch you, as long as it's not a, what was a so boring race? Spain 2019. Every Spanish Grand Prix. Spain 2020. As long as if there's some overtakes, of course. The most interesting part of Russia is that long run down to turn 1 where first or third wins. Second place, 30 side of the grid. No chance. I'm sorry, but no. Singapore back after 3 years again, which will be interesting because I'm not sure if they're changing it. No, they're not changing anything. However, if Vettel is going to come on a podium anywhere, I bet Singapore is one of his best shots, as well as Japan. Suzuka, I just want to go straight to Suzuka. Great track. You already know Red Bull's going to do something special for Honda there, as well as AlphaTauri, as well as other things. Of course, the S's for the first time. Degna with those less dirty air cars that they produce will be easier to follow through Spoon, through 130R, almost actually said Radion there, 130R, through the triangle chicane. Turn 1 or 2, of course, interesting. The entire lap is going to be interesting. It can overtake anywhere now. USA and Austin, I like it, but last year it was a bit of a, it wasn't a Met race. It was like, oh, it's going on, and that's it. Wait, 10 laps. Oh, it's happening. No. So yeah. However, through the S's, just as like in Suzuka, we'll be able to follow, meaning a better chance through the back straight, and also through that Turkey 10-8 style will be a better chance through it. Also, no Portimao on the circuit. Honestly, if you're going to end it at the 20th of November, you might as well go 2 weeks longer. I mean, we ended on the, 14th of December? That's crazy. That's so late. Mexico is Mexico. I don't like the track. The Mexican fans deserve better. 2 just long straights, which make overtaking boring. And just whoever gets away of the DRS and is faster by 1/10 wins. I don't like Mexico. The track is a bit meh, as well as the fans are great. The fans absolutely amazing. They deserve a better track. The special thing about Mexico, not only the fans, which I'll mention a lot about Mexico, is the altitude. It is very high above sea level, which means tire temps are key, which I like as well, that intensity. Brazil, Sao Paulo, can we just mix Brazil and Abu Dhabi, like put them on the other side? Brazil does not disappoint for me. It's always been like that. Like, what, you're getting sad about F1, that it's too boring? Watch some Brazil highlights, that'll make you happy. Another thing about Brazil is that they are that, like, I love the main straight, and they're like through the center S's, and if you get a good exit, or if you side by side through, they're so satisfying, going into turn 4 into Desquito de Lago, and then into the infield, which is a bit more technical, where you need that understanding of braking, turning, so that you don't look up. Abu Dhabi, they've changed it. I'm not going to talk too much about the change. I'll let you guys write in the comments what you think about that. However, Abu Dhabi is Abu Dhabi. It will remain the final circuit. Personally, I don't like it. Your choice. If you do, personally, yeah. Anyway, that is it. What is your favourite track and least favourite track on this year's calendar? You can include tracks that we have been at, for example, Hockenheim and what else? Portimao and Turkey in the comments below. Please subscribe, like the video. Thanks for listening to this podcast, and I'll see you next time. I was your host, Yellow Boy, for the Checkered Flag podcast.